Hi, my name is Jana. Welcome back to my channel, where I talk about slow living and my life in the Finnish countryside. This year in January I started a low buy challenge. I decided to be more mindful about the things that I buy this year. And now that the year is coming to an end, it's time to go through the whole year to look at my purchases and to see whether the low buy challenge taught me anything. So here are some of the insights I gathered during this year. At the end of this video I will be sharing some details about this sweater that I'm wearing, so make sure to watch till the end if that's something that interests you. Becoming aware of the psychology of shopping. One of the biggest insights I had was about the psychology that lies behind everything we buy. And it's kind of surprising because I thought I already was very aware of that. My biggest fail this year wasn't anything that huge when it comes to the amount of money. It was more kind of something that made me realize how much we are used to this culture that when there's a sale we want to be involved, that we almost feel like we are missing out if we are not participating, that we are being fed that there's this lifestyle that we get when we buy something, that it's almost shameful to just use your old clothes even though they are still perfectly fine, but you get this feeling that you should be buying just because you need to have something new. Just like when you are going to a party and you feel like everybody's already seen your dress, so that you need to have a new dress every time. And I fell into this trap. Again, I should say. I've probably done it many times in the past as well. There was this sale in July. I just couldn't resist ordering stuff online, even though I didn't necessarily need those clothes. So I ended up buying 2 dresses that look almost exactly the same. And what's worse is that I don't really even need these kinds of dresses in my everyday life. I live in Finland where the summers are sometimes cool and short, so there's not so much room for wearing summer dresses anyway. So this, well, let's not call it a fail, that's a bit negative, but this experience taught me that it's so easy to fall into the trap of buying when the price is low, when you feel like you're kind of winning in the game, even though you're still losing money and getting stuff that you don't need. So my takeaway from this experience is that even though something is on sale, even though it looks like a good deal, you still need to be mindful whether you actually need that product or not. Otherwise, you will just end up with a closet that's too full with dresses that you don't need or use. I know that in my last video I also said that I wouldn't buy fast fashion, so I kind of did with these 2 dresses. But I guess it just shows how difficult it is to resist the temptation. This world is built in a way that we are expected to buy, and buying is made easy. So there's no reason for being too harsh on yourself if you make these decisions that feel like mistakes. They're just an opportunity to learn. But buying stuff on sale isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can actually be a good opportunity to get something that you actually need. The Finnish design company Marimekko had a big sale, and they're a brand that's known for, I would say, a pretty good quality, and the prices are often higher than what their competitors have. So when I saw things that were like 50% off, I took the opportunity and bought myself a new nightgown. And I also bought some stuff for my home, like kitchen towels, bed linen, stuff like that. I think it was a good choice. I haven't actually used the kitchen towels yet, but as we all know, those are things that get worn with time. So I will have them ready in my closet when I have to throw some of the old ones away. Flea markets rock. I also bought some new clothes secondhand, and most of those choices were excellent. I bought some new jeans, something very basic, nothing flashy or expensive. I paid, I think, €6 for a pair of jeans that I use, well, not daily, but at least weekly. And they're not the best pair of jeans that I ever had, but they do the job. I can wear them when I take the kids to their hobbies or when I go grocery shopping. They're comfortable and they are just fine. But then I also made some not so educated choices at the flea market. I bought a skirt that was this beautiful vintage skirt, I would say probably from the 70s. It's made of wool and it looked so beautiful and it fits me quite well. But the problem is that the fabric is so itchy that I haven't worn it once during this year. So I would say that it's important to stay mindful even at the flea market, even though the prices might be low. There's no point in carrying stuff home if you are not going to use that. And it wasn't just one bad choice that I made. I bought this other skirt that I like very much in style, but it's just that it's slightly too snug for me. I feel like keeping this skirt in my wardrobe is kind of wishful thinking. Like I'm wishing for the skirt to magically change overnight, to grow a few centimeters bigger. In my last video I said I would stop making impulsive thrift store purchases. The truth is that there's been a lot of development in this area of my life without me even trying. I don't really go to flea markets that much anymore. That used to be something that made me feel relaxed, seeing all the things that they had, all the beautiful items. But now I feel like it's more like I get decision fatigue when I go there. I find something that's nice and beautiful, but the whole process of thinking whether I need it or not is exhausting. I don't really spend that much time at flea markets anymore, and if I do, I more often than not just leave everything there, unless I find something that feels like a very good deal for me. Last year when I made the video about my low buy year, I said that I wanted to be more mindful about my yarn purchases. And I came up with this idea of trying to hold all of my yarn in the same place, in an actual plastic container. And when the container is full, then I can't buy any more yarn. So the idea of this is to have an actual space, restricted space, and when that's full you can't buy more. I don't feel like buying yarn is a problem in itself because it's a hobby that gives me a lot of joy. I love to knit and I feel like it's something that keeps my mental health in a lot better shape. But of course it's good to be mindful. And I don't like the idea of having yarn just lying around in my stash if I don't have any kind of plan for that yarn. So nowadays I try to, if I have yarn, I have a project in mind for it. And I don't mind if that yarn sits there for months waiting for me to actually knit that project. But the important thing is that the yarn I have has some purpose. We often have these assumptions about the value of a product or about the price without even checking if it's actually true. I noticed this when I started comparing prices of some of the teas that I kept buying. And I realized that when I bought tea from a specialized shop, the price per kilo was actually lower than some of the tea bags that are sold in grocery stores. I'd had the assumption that if they sell it at the grocery store, if it's a high volume product, that is sold everywhere in the world and is available everywhere, that it must be cheaper. But actually the price per kilo was much lower for some of the kind of high-end teas that are sold in a specialized shop. Especially if you take into consideration that when the tea quality is high, you can brew it twice. And that opened my eyes. We often just pay for the marketing. We pay for the brand or the package. Whereas if you're ready to investigate a little bit, go to a specialized shop that sells you the product in bulk, it can be a lot cheaper. And I believe this is true in many product categories, not just for tea. Okay, I think those were the most important things that I wanted to share about my low buy year. But now I will talk to you a little bit about this sweater that I'm wearing. If you have been watching my videos previously, you saw me working on this sweater. And this is something that I finished quite recently, a few weeks ago now. This is the Riihi sweater by Ronja Hakalehto, the Finnish knitwear designer. She lives in northern Finland, in the Finnish Lapland, and I think that's reflected in this general style of the sweater. I wanted to make this because I wanted something to wear every day, something that would feel natural and look natural, and I just felt like this design was perfect for it. I will list the yarns that I used in the description box. They are mostly Finnish yarns that are not sold outside Finland or maybe in some of our neighboring countries. So I will not be talking about the yarn much in detail. But I will just say that one of the reasons for me for making this sweater was that I had this gray yarn in my stash. It had been lying there for ages and I wanted to make something with it. And I knew when I went into this project that the yarn wasn't my favorite because I made a sweater for my son with the same yarn and it has peeled quite a lot. I wouldn't have chosen this yarn again. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make something for everyday wear, because I knew that the yarn wasn't something spectacularly beautiful. I just wanted something practical that didn't matter if it peeled a lot. It's just something to keep me warm. I made a few modifications to this colorwork motif because I think this color is supposed to be knitted with the color or the yarn where I'm using brown. But I wanted to change it because this yarn is significantly softer than the brown yarn that I'm using here. And I knew that I don't want to have that brown yarn right next to my skin here in the neck area, because that's where I'm the most sensitive to prickliness. And the good thing about this gray yarn, which like I said isn't my favorite, is that this is pretty soft, I would say. In one of my previous videos I contemplated making some sort of colorwork motif here on the sleeves or on the hem as well, but I just rejected the idea because I realized that it's much better this way. It's simpler, it's the way the designer intended it. And I also think that I added an extra color into the colorwork section because when I changed the order of the colors, it didn't work as well as the designer had intended. So those are some of the small modifications I made. The collar is supposed to be a folded collar. I haven't sewn it in yet because I started thinking that it might be nice to be wearing it like this. I don't know. I might still do that, but let me know what you think. But overall, I'm very happy with this sweater. I think it looks nicer than what I anticipated. As I mentioned in some of my earlier videos, I'm not I haven't made so many colorwork sweaters previously, and I always find it a bit I don't know, a stressful process, because when you are knitting, usually the fabric looks kind of uneven, and only after blocking you see that if it's kind of really turning out okay. So I was pleasantly surprised that the colorwork section turned out so even. And I think this sweater is perfect for what I intended it for. So my everyday life, where I don't have to be mindful about it. Like if it was something like made with a fancy yarn, I think it would be sitting just in my closet, because I was too afraid to actually wear it. Okay, I think this is everything today. Thank you for watching again. Thank you for so many beautiful comments that you have left. Continue doing so if you feel like it. Remember to take care of yourself. See you in the next video. Bye bye.